I'm Untitled Chapter. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for watching this stream. In this stream, I will be trying to work with dynamic selectors most of the time. So we'll be working and looking at dynamic selectors. I'm Untitled Chapter. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for watching this stream. Excellent. So we're going to be building on our process that we saw in the previous stream. So what we are basically going to be doing in this stream, we are going to be trying to create a flow that is going to go on a web application. The web application is going to be a social media. In this case, I think we're still going to be using Twitter until we have proven over and over again that it can be, that we can build really easily a robot for it that can act like a human and not get flagged. So let's continue with what we are doing. Let's continue with our work, and let's continue building our process. Just one last thing before we dive right into it. I want to tell everybody that is watching my channel, and also other channels on Power Automate, I want to tell you that I think that you're doing the right thing to invest your time like that into learning Power Automate. It is going to be huge, I think, very soon. I have worked with other RPA technologies for over a decade. They've had a very hard time getting adopted. Why? Because they have been vendors that are not Microsoft. Now that Microsoft has decided to put Power Automate Desktop on every single computer, you, by wanting to learn it, you are going to be ahead of everybody else. You're going to be ahead of everybody else, and therefore, you're going to be able to find a great job and get well paid. But enough small talk, just one more little small talk. I want to also thank you again for watching my channel and for sticking around with me. I'm sorry for being a little bit slow in this intro. I just want to tell you guys, thank you so much for liking my channel, for following, and for watching my videos. It really means a lot to me. I'm trying to make videos that are educational, but at the same time engaging, meaning that we're not just kind of looking at concepts, but I would like to try to create some emotions in the videos so that the things that we watch inside of the videos would stick more. That is the only reason why we're doing kind of social media breaking and we're trying to do these fun things. Why? Because we want to create some emotions that will make what we learn inside of our videos stick to us more. Awesome. All right, cool. I will turn off my camera and I will share my screen and we will get right into it. So, all right, so let's start working with Power Automate Desktop. All right, so I have a little demonstration process here that we can just run very quickly and see what we would want to be creating or something similar. So this is a kind of an infinite liking process. So what this process is going to do is going to search for the selector of the like button. It is going to find that selector, is going to put a variable inside of the selector, it's going to increment the variable, it's going to go obviously scroll down, and is going to click on the next selector, and is going to do this continuously forever, meaning that I still haven't seen this break. So there is a couple of things that happen, but there is a couple of things that happen, but the flow has the ability to recover by itself and start again. All right, so this is going to continue for quite much more. So let's interrupt this. So here we can see that it was also going into a failsafe that we have created where we're matching an image. Now the screen has blocked itself for some reason. So let's stop this and let's start building a new process from scratch. So let's save this. Again, in this video I will not be covering the simple and the easy things such as going over the application. We've seen that. We're going to just jump right into the things and start building our process. All right, our flow has been successfully saved. Now we can close this as well, and let's create a new flow. And we're gonna call this the Twitter overflow 2. Getting a little bit more creative with the names. All right, let's wait for the pane to open. And let's start building our process. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is we would want to open Internet Explorer. Now we are going to do things differently in this process. We're going to try to do them a little bit faster. So to do things a little bit faster, we are going to be using the recorder. And we're also going to see that there is differences between the selectors that we get via the recorder and via the UI elements right here. And that's going to be a big deal. So let's open the web recorder and let's record our process. Now remember to install the plugin for Chrome if you would like to use Chrome. So in case Chrome is not working on your computer, it is probably because you have not used you have not installed plugin. Now this is attaching itself to the wrong browser. Now that is happening because I opened it and I had that browser selected. Now I will have to cancel this again, go back here and try the recorder again while highlighting the browser that I wanted to attach to. Now we'll see that right now it's going to be attached to the Twitter browser so that I can start recording directly on Twitter. Alright, excellent. So let's start recording and see what we get as a result. So what we want our process to do, we want our process to, for example, come on. Alright, so what is happening right now is that our resolution for recording hasn't been matched properly. So when that happens, you will just want to refresh the page and hopefully it will go back to what it was. So what we want to do is we want to find the same selector always, every single time that we like a repetitive icon. So for example, in this case, we want to click on every single heart, and we know that if we click just on one heart on this page, it's not going to be enough to get that one selector. So we are going to have to get a couple of these selectors. So let's click on a couple of these. So we can see that we got SVG, SVG2. That means that I'm also clicking on the right selectors. Let's get a few more. 4, 5, that is the correct one. I will also click on a wrong one. So for example, on the heart instead of the SVG, just to show you what we could get. So why are we getting so many of these? Why? Because we're going to extract then the metadata in these, and we're going to understand what is happening. So for example, here you can see that there is a comment. This one is following a slightly different path. So probably for posts that are ours on our own homepage, we have a different link. Okay, so let's continue liking and getting a couple of more selectors. That is perfect. So I think we got all of the hard selectors. Now since we're here, let's just get what are the other things that we need. So we're going to require also, maybe we want to comment on this as well. Alright, and then we are going to click on reply. That was a funny comment for this post. And let's also find another one of these buttons and see also do the same thing as we have done with this. See how is it changing. So let's click on another one and another one. All right, and let's comment this has been and reply. All right, I think I have enough selectors right now to start working on something. All right, so let's go back to our process that has, no, it hasn't crashed, fortunately. All right, here's our process. So we are launching Chrome, we are clicking on the different things. All right, well, let's just see what we have. So, I mean, if this is working, no need to fix anything, any selectors or anything. If this recording is going to work perfectly, I guess we have our process. Now, already the first thing is happening that I don't really like, and that is that the window is not maximized. And also it has already broken. It's saying that it cannot find the page on the link. So it cannot find this icon right here. All right, now let's see what is the matter. Let's see if we can fix this. So let's go to our selectors and just to quickly rename this because it is going to make a little bit more sense. I will put it like this. Or how about HR1? Well, I guess that's the same as SVG, but so yeah, I'll just rename it back to SVG and just keep it like that. SVG, I'll just put it on SVG1. All right, so just a quick reminder, if you would like to change the names of these, you can click on F2 and automatically change the name of your variable. All right, let's see our selector. So this is the selector that was generated for us. Okay. Now, if we come here and we want to add a UI element, and we go and we try to find this, heart right here. So let's see if it's going to add it. It did not add it very well. Let's try again. Let's see if it has added it. Oh, here we go. All right. So we have created. We can't from here. So we have added these two selectors using the add UI element. Now the first thing I wanted to point out, check out the differences in the selector. So this is the selector that was generated via the recording, which is much more ordered and structured and in a readable format. And this is the CSX selector that was generated from the web page. Now, working with this selector, I think it's much harder. Why? Because it will be hard to notice what is changing and where is the dynamic content. We could probably figure it out. So I've started already. So these numbers, they stay the same. So it's always kind of it's always something similar, I think, to this. But then we just have way too many. So I believe these are the two selectors that are changing. But yeah, the selector just looks much more confusing. Therefore, let's just use the one that was generated for us during the recording. So in case we wanted also to get maybe a new selector, we could just take the web recorder and bring it to let's start recording, bring it to Twitter, get another one of these, SVG13, finish, and see what's up. All right, so this was generated. These are comments that are generated by the recorder. Now we can eliminate those because right now we don't need them. So here we don't need this, and we can move this one down, and let's see if this time it would work. Now right now we would have two variables. So we spied one with one browser opening one session, and then we reopen the session and we respied it. Now there is a reason why I am doing this. Okay, so we can see that this time it has worked, but the following one it's not working. It was liked previously. So it's breaking somewhere. All right, so let's examine these selectors. We know that they are working, but there is a reason why they are breaking. Why they're breaking? They are breaking because it's not the same selector. The selector is incrementing, so it's a different one. Now, how can we find what is the right selector? The easy way that I found is just to go into the selectors that were created, and let's edit the selector. So in this case we have selector 1. Let's get this and let's do some research. Notepad. No, I think Notepad is the wrong tool for this. We could use okay, we can use this. Okay. So this is the first one that we have. Now let's see the second one. So that's the first one. Now let's see the second select that we have. And then let's also see the third select that we have. Why we are looking for a pattern in our selectors. A pattern that we can then later change with a variable. So that we can have a variable and just one action, and that one action is going to do everything. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's get 4 and 5, and then we should also get we should get kind of as many of them as possible, so that we really notice all of the different kind of differences that are happening. All right. Well, let's already take a look at what we have. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different selectors. So let's see what is happening. I can already tell you that this is the number that is changing. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then everything else is staying the same. So I'm assuming that if I change only this, I'm assuming that I could have a variable that could, if I have a variable that increments, I could be updating the variable dynamically. So if that is the case, I don't need all of these guys. I will just need one that I could put in a loop with a variable that is going to loop over it. All right. So where were we? We were looking at our variable over here. Okay. So if we want to put the variable inside of it, we need, the first thing that we need to do is we need to set a variable. So let's set a variable. Let's set this variable right here in the beginning. We are going to give it a more meaningful name, the new variable, so we'll call it like increment. That is a pretty good name. And we are going to put this at 0. So like increment is going to be the variable. Let's just get it. It's going to be the variable that is going to replace this number inside of our selector. So this was the selector that was generated by the recording. And we've noticed that the only thing inside of this selector, and just make sure one more time, is this part here that is changing. Now let's change it and let's see what happens. So now we have updated, by putting the variable in here instead of the number, I have made this selector a dynamic selector. Now let's take this. Let's go back to our SVG 12. No, let's be using SVG1, which is supposed to be the 0 one. We're going to edit the selector, and we're just going to create a new one, and we will add the one with our variable. So it was going to try to find this selector. If it doesn't, it will just go automatically to our. Did we? Yes. All right. Actually, we don't want to do that. Let's just delete the other selector, because right now we want to see if this is working. And let's also select SVG1 here. Save. We don't need anything else for the moment in our flow. So what we are, let's recap again what we're doing. We're opening the browser, we're setting this variable to 0. So theoretically it should click on the first like. Alright, let's see if it happens. If it happens, then we can put maybe a loop. So this opens again on the browser. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Hello, hello, hello. And if anybody has some questions while they are watching, please make sure to ask them in the chat. That's why we are here on this live. All right, excellent. So it worked. We got our first like. So that means that what we have done is working. So what would happen if I were to put a 1? Let's just give it a try, see what happens. And then if that works, we are ready to take it to the next level. And when I say to the next level, I mean to add an infinite loop that will like things forever on Twitter. So let's wait for this to load. And yeah, we got our second like right here, down here, which means this was 0 and this is 1. Excellent. So what does that mean? Again, that means that our selector is following this logic. Let's see until where can we make it kind of increment and kind of keep on hitting likes until it breaks. So right now we figured out that if we like 1 or like 2, it is going to work. Now let's put a loop and let's start looping on this. This is where the fun is actually going to start. This is where the fun actually starts. So let's look for our loop. Let's put the simplest loop. What is a loop? If you don't know, if you're new to Power Automate, which most of you are not, but basically a loop is something that is going to allow you to cycle through different actions. So we're going to start from 0, meaning at our first heart, and we are going to end at maybe, let's try a number that is kind of small, 6 increment by 1, and that's pretty much it. So that's pretty straightforward. What we're going to do, we're going to start our cycle at 0. We're going to increment our cycle by 1 until we reach 6. That means that we're going to do 6 loops, or 6 likes in this case. So let's move our variable in here. So right now we are going to be clicking on the same variable over and over again 6 times. So what we have to do is we have to increment this variable, like increment, by 1 every time that we are inside of our loop. Now fortunately Power Automate is pretty great and has something that you can increment the variable in different ways, but they just happen to have a option for you to increment the variable without even doing any calculations. Now if we select the variable to 1 increment, like increment, and we click on it, if you hit this select variable here, you don't need to write your own variables. You can just select them directly from the list. And you can also see the type of variable they are. There's 42 different types of variables that Power Automate can handle. So yeah, it's great working with variables in Power Automate. Increase increment by 1. All right. All right. And let's save this. So again, let's kind of recap what is happening. So we are gonna, variable name is gonna be incremented by 1. Okay, perfect. So every time this loops finishes, this variable which we are using here is gonna increment by 1. Now, should we try this and see if we get 6 likes? If we can give 6 likes? All right. The idea is for that to happen. So it is opening again on another browser. I apologize. This is my YouTube stream. This is the browser that is where we are running our flow. Alright, so let's see what is going to happen. As soon as it opens, it clicked on the second one, it clicked on the third one, it clicked on kind of the fourth one. It is skipping some, but it seems like it's working. So we have just given how many likes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 is missing for some mysterious reason. So we have 5 likes. All right. Well, that was easier than expected. So in how many, in not even 6 lines, we can create something. Let's see if it's gonna work again. We have already created something that is behaving routinely on Twitter. What I mean by routinely, meaning that you could put this in another loop that is going to run it every 2 minutes of every day for the rest of your time, and you could be just giving 6 likes to whoever you want. So, all right, I think it's working. It's working pretty well. For some reason, it is skipping. It is skipping some posts. So I might have an idea why it's skipping some posts. So if the post is from the same person, I think it skips it. So if on my homepage I believe that I have a post from, for example, from this lady right here, I will just like one of her things. If I have a post from this guy, that is 2 consecutive posts, I will just like one. Why is that? I think because the selector path to our selector is different. So let's actually do something else. Should we try to find these other selectors? Well, yeah. All right. Let's see what we can do. Let's run this one more time, and let's see. Let's try to find the new selectors. So just a couple of things that we're going to do here. We are going to maximize the screen when we launch Google Chrome, and we are also not going to set any errors. We're going to wait for the page to load, and that's pretty everything that we want to do right now. Let's just also check this functionality. We're going to wait for the page to load. If there is a pop-up, we are going to close it, and that's pretty much it. All right, let's run our browser again. Will it open? No, it will not. It always opens on the other page. And let's see what we're doing right now. We are trying to find the like buttons that it's not going to click, and try to see what is the difference between those buttons and the buttons that it's clicking. So let's see what happens. Well, this time it has clicked on every single button except for the first one. Now let's see why it has not clicked on the first one, because what is the it will increment. So we set it to 1, we don't set it actually to 0. So if we were to set this to 0 and then we increment it by 1 like this, it will click also on the first like. Let's see what happens. Like this, it will click on the first like, on the second, on the 0 like, on the first like, on the second like, and so on. So now it should click on the first like, and it should continue clicking. All right, it worked. Perfect. Click on the second one, please. Thank you. I didn't see the heart pop up. I still can't see, for some reason the hearts come up, but I see the number that is changing. That is weird. Have we already broken Twitter? I don't think so. Okay. All right. So that's kind of partially semi-working. Not still 100% sure if I can say that it's working. Let's increase this and let's put this a little bit bigger. Let's make this 11, increment by 1, and start from 0. Perfect. We're starting here at 0 and we're incrementing it by 1. So right now it's going to be 0 here, and okay. All right. Let's run it and let's see what happens. Come on. We're going to break Twitter sooner or later. Better sooner than later. So now that once we manage to get the likes to work, then we're gonna fit in with the subflow. We're gonna try to fit in a come on, like, but okay, it's liking this one, it's liking this one, it's liking this one, it's liking this one. I'm gonna stop saying it, I promise. But once we figure this out, once we got this going with the likes, after that we are going to do something different. what we're going to do is we're going to add some comments. So we're going to see some more functionalities. Now, let's see if this broke or it stopped. So it broke. All right, perfect. Why did it break? Why did it break? Now let's find out why did it break, so that we can make it a little bit more stable. So I believe it broke here. So we're going to spy this element and we're going to figure out why and how is it different from our selectors. And again, the objective of this is to find the to create the most resistant and resilient process that we can think of. So I'm going to position my mouse right inside of the heart and I'm going to click this SVG8 it gave me. All right, let's finish it and let's go back and investigate. So if we go back to, if we stop our process, which is stopped, and we go to our variables, we go to variable SVG8, we added this selector, and let's see what we have here. So it looks like it's kind of similar to me. So what we are trying to see, what is, if any, differences between the two. But to me it doesn't look like there is any differences between the two. So we would want to maybe look at the error that was produced. Let's try to get another one of these selectors. So let's try to get maybe selector 10 or selector 6. That's where it started kind of breaking. So let's go here, and div, this looks more or less the same as the other one. Let's try to find another one. Now this is awkward. This is awkward. No, apologies. This is not awkward. Why is it giving us that it's number 6 when it's here giving us that it's number 11? Maybe we found another. All right, we have found another selector that could happen, that we should plan for. So let's see what's up. So let's put it below our main selector and let's see how it's working. So we have the first row, which is the same. Then we have the second row, which is kind of the same. Did I mess it up? Is it the same selector? Well, if it's the same selector, it's going to make things much easier. Yes, it is. No, it is not the same selector. So we have this that is changing. Okay, I have not noticed, but sometimes we have a 2 and sometimes we have a 0. So that is why sometimes the selector works and sometimes it doesn't work. Now, let's see if there is any other differences in our selector. So 1 main div equals 0 0 0. So this first line is fine. The second line is also kind of fine. Looks like to me that the second line is also kind of fine. So we either have a 0 or a 2. So if I were just to try the simplest solution, I would just take this. I would go back to my Power Automate. And on which one are we working? We're working on, click on web page, click on increment. Whoa. Okay, so we don't want, this is what we added previously, and we don't want that. So we want our selector 1. We're going to add a new selector to it, and we are going to put number 2. So in here we have 1 selector. Are they both the same? Okay, so let's just make sure that we're doing the correct thing. So we need one with 2 and we need one with 0. So let's get the one with 0 and let's go back here. Let's edit this and let's add the one with 0. Alright, okay. So now, let's see if this is going to work. So now we are planning for two different selectors. One selector has the, one selector is slightly different. So I'm not sure when Twitter decides to use one selector or the other, but now we are going to be testing for both of them. And even if that fails, we could maybe think about a backup solution. Alright, so this is already not working, so we have messed something up. An item with that key has already been added. Alright, I guess we cannot use the same we cannot use the same variable inside of the, okay, alright, well then in that case let's do something like this. Let's set two variables. Let's call this like increment 2. I super apologize for my weak naming convention, but it's for the sake of time and for the sake of this live. So let's change this variable to 2. I guess that is what the mistake was, or what the error that was telling us. So now let's run this again and let's see what happens. No, we made another mistake. So we are not incrementing the second variable. So the second variable will always have it stuck at 0, I believe. But let's still see what will happen. So we got the first one, we got the second one, we got the third one, we got the fourth one, we got the fifth one, we got the sixth one. That's good. 7. Okay, it skipped one. 8. Now I have no idea what is going on anymore. Is it just scrolling down, skipping? It's still clicking on some things. Alright, kind of partially satisfied. Not really sure what has been clicked already and what hasn't been clicked already, because it's, if we clicked on the heart already, it is just going to unclick it, and and we're not really gonna notice what is going on. Anyways, if you are enjoying this live, don't forget to drop a thumbs up, so that so that I know that you're enjoying it, and also don't forget to ask questions in the chat, so that if anything that I'm showing is not clear, or you would like to know a little bit more detail about it, let me know and I will answer your questions. Alright, so next things next. So we have our 4 lines of code here that are already doing something pretty amazing. But we are setting 2 variables, so in that case, let's increment also, I believe, the other variable. I'm not sure if this is the correct thing to do, but it logically just seems like the correct thing to do. Alright, enough work with this. Let's try the like button one more time. And if it's working relatively fine, I mean, for right now, that's fine. We don't have to like every single thing. I mean, as long as it's not breaking, as long as it's continuing to like, that's kind of the objective of what we want from our automation. All right, come on. Let's give some more love on LinkedIn. Let's give some love, and here we go. 1, 2. Who are these guys? 3 didn't work, 4 didn't work, 5 didn't work, 6 didn't work, 7 didn't work. So they are kind of working but not working. I think it's because it's the same images from before, so my page hasn't refreshed. That's why I'm not seeing the new likes. So I guess I'll have to follow a couple of people to refresh my page a little bit, but why follow them manually while we could be following them with a robot? Should we build that next? Should we build the functionality to add like a little bit of people? Alright, let's build that functionality. So we got this part kind of working. Let's create the part now that is gonna follow a little bit more people, so we can have a little bit of a fresher homepage when we come back to like this. Alright, so to do that, let's add a couple of things to our flow. Let's add some labels. Let's add some go-tos first. Well, no, first we need some labels. So we're gonna add add a label so that when we start our process, we can just skip to this label, and we don't have to worry about executing everything else. So we are gonna put this right here. So we're gonna open Twitter, and then we are gonna skip directly to our label right here. So we're gonna just skip all these steps of liking, and then we're gonna continue with do another part of the process, which is going to be the part where we're gonna follow unlimited number of people. Well, not unlimited, but we're gonna start following people, and that's going to be another part of our process. All right. So what we have to do is let's try using the UI elements. So let's change things a little bit. I prefer to use the web recorder for spying elements because it produces cleaner results, but let's try using something else. Let's try using the UI elements from over here. So add the UI element. Every time I want to do this, I get weak knees and a little bit of a stomachache, because I have a feeling that it is going to be pretty bad, these selectors that is going to create. So what we want to do is we want to see more of people who to follow. But what we also want to do is we want to find the link to click on. So you see, when I position my mouse right here in the red bar, it says link. Now this is a good selector. So if I select this, that will be a good selector, a much better selector than if I select the span over here or the div over here. So let me try to get this link, and let's see if it's going to be a web element, and it is a link. Excellent. All right, now let's find where our link is. Our link is right here. So what we want to do next is we want to click on web automation, and we want to click a link on a web page. So after our label to skip, we are just going to click on, should we give it a more meaningful name? All right. This one, I think it makes sense to give it a more meaningful name. If I press F2, I can rename it, and I will rename it to Follow Friends. Follow Friends. So follow friends, let's add the click link on web page action, and let's add the friends here. So if we scroll through all of our useless selectors, because why I say useless, because we're using just one here, this one, and now we're using this one over here. So that's why I say useless, because the other ones that we had to spy, we just needed to understand what kind of selectors they were. All right, click on this, and we should go to follow friends. Well, let's try this and let's see what happens. Oh, finally it's opening it on the correct browser. So we should just automatically go to the follow more people page once this page stops loading. All right, it has failed miserably. Now, why has it failed miserably? Probably because the selector, the CSS selector, was wrong. Click link on web page failed. Now, if anybody can decipher what this says, string action dictionary to input argument. Well, I'm not even going to bother kind of action statement. I think Microsoft should really put a little bit more effort into providing a little bit more clearer results. But anyways, let's not waste any more time on that. Let's just spy it and just get it over with. All right, as soon as this opens, I will just spy this, start recording and spy this action. So show more. Okay, I made a mistake. We've clicked on the span. I would much rather click on the link. So I think right now, right here, I'm on the link. So I will click on this link. Perfect. So I have the link, and I think that is going to work every single time. So why? Because this link is not going to be, I believe it's not going to be dynamic, but we never can know. So let's delete all of the other actions that were generated by our recorder, and we have, let's check out also the link that was, so as you can see here, this is the recording. This is where it's trying to group all the different elements for me. So the ones that I'm spying, it's putting them here, and the ones that the recording is creating is putting them under the recording. So let's see the one for the link. Why is it so special? All right, aside A. Okay, well this doesn't look like it might change. So let's run it. Let's see if it happens. What happens if we go to the follow more people page? If we go to the follow more people page, then we're just gonna follow 8 people and then go back to our page. Good progress so far. I think it just worked. It clicked on the page and now we're on the follow more page. Excellent. Guess what we're gonna do right now? Well, I think you all are aligned with what we're gonna do next. We're gonna use the web recorder. We're gonna spy a couple of these buttons just like we did with the hearts. We're gonna find the selector that is in common with all of them. We're gonna try to change it, and then we are gonna also consolidate this part as well. Now let's start our recording. The user ID, that's interesting. All right, and let's follow here. So we clicked on the span. Can we click, let's see what else can we click on. The div. I think I'd rather click on the div. I'd rather click on the div. I'd rather click on the div. The div might be a little bit harder to work with. Why? Because it might contain more code. So I'm gonna just try it with the div right now because I prefer it, and then we're gonna try it with. If it's not working with the div, then we're gonna try it with the span, and we're gonna use the span. All right, finish. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. All right, if we go to our variables, we got all of these variables. All right, so same process as before. Let's get our selector that was created. Let's copy and paste it. Let's come back here, and I already know that there is something that is going to change in this selector. Why? Because we have more of the same selector. So, and also I forgot to mention that there is different ways that we could be doing this. This is not the only way to click on a button on a web page, or the way that I'm doing it right now is via a selector. So here we got, okay, all right, we can already see what is changing. 3, 4, so that is changing the number in here. Let's get a couple of more. So does it start from 1, or does it start from 2, or does it start from 3? That is my question. I think it starts from 2, but let's get 4 also, just for confirmation sakes, and that is 5. So we got 4, and 4 is 5. Okay. So if we go back to our selectors, so we got 4 and this is 5. So this is 4, 3, 2. So for some reason it starts at 2. Now if we go back to our page, what do I mean that it starts by 2? So this first one is 2 for some reason. Alright, no biggie. Let's try it out and we're gonna find out what is happening. So again, we need to change this number for a variable that is going to be incrementing. And I think, can we recycle the same variables that we had previously? So could we just use this variable starting from 0? Let's create a new variable. So this is the like variable. Let's create another variable. So we are going to set another variable, and we're going to call this variable the follow variable. Follow. Let's just call it follow. We'll make it start at 0, and let's see if it's going to work. So let's delete all of these actions, and we're getting closer and closer to creating a full-fledged robot that is going to be doing our dirty bidding on Twitter. All right, so we click on a web page, and then after that, let's Control Z, please. All right, and then we are going to wait for this. Yes, it's waiting to load, and is this also waiting to load? It is beautiful how Power Automate already includes these things inside of these actions. All right. So what we are doing is we are clicking on the web page. We are going to our follow friends, and then we are clicking on the first follow friend. Do we need to change our path? Yes, we need to change our path, so our selector. So we are using div 5. Let's work on div 2. So if we go here and we go edit our selector, and we go here to fish our selector, we would want to change this with follow. I believe that was the name of our variable. Is everything else kind of the same? 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 4, and 5. Okay, to me it seems that is the only thing that changes. So now if we go here and we change our selector, it's so much fun. Power Automate, it is amazing with how much little simplicity we can create very, very complex automations. Now let's run this, and in theory, if it has worked, we're going to go to the page of follow people, and we're going to follow the first person that is on that list. If that person starts with an ID of 0, that person does not start with an ID of 0. Alright. We have failed miserably. Maybe not miserably. Let's try an ID of 2, and let's see now what we are going to get. So. It's loading, it's going to the page. Now it's going to go to the page. Yes, it's going to the correct page. And now I'm expecting that it's going to follow somebody. Yes, it has followed something way down at the bottom here. And it has also made the button disappear. So why did it select this? We put an ID of 2. So what if we put an ID of 1? Will it select this one? Or does it have a different kind of selector? These are all questions that we should answer really quickly. Let's try. So let's maybe just try putting this in a loop and see where is it gonna break. So if I add a similar loop to what I did previously, we are gonna start at 0, we are gonna end at 5, and we're gonna increment by 1. We will put this in here, and we will also increment this variable here. What do we call this? We call this follow. So we're going to take follow, and we're going to increment it by 1. So we're going to start the process. We're going to we're going to go skip here, we're going to go to the friends pages, and then we're going to 5 times try to click on the button follow with our selector incrementing by 1. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. And by the way, if you have not already subscribed to the channel, if you don't like it, don't subscribe. I'm just joking. But yeah, if you are watching this and you are into Power Automate and you would like to learn more and more, don't forget to subscribe. Alright, so this is not working. It is not working. It's plain and simple. Why is it not working? Because our click on the web page has failed. I will not even try to understand why. I just think that the selector has failed. So we are using here only SVG1 and div5. What does that mean? That means that I do not need all of these other selectors. So I can go around and remove all of these selectors so that I have a little bit of a cleaner working environment where I'm working. So span, SVG, we are using just the div5 and the SVG1 and the link. So that's all we need. Alright, we have cleaned it up a little bit, and let's use our web recorder again. Let's spy these actions, and let's understand why it is not able to identify our the follow buttons. So I'm going to use the Chrome, and this time I'm going to be clicking on the follow, exactly on the follow. So I have noticed there is two, so I'll try to be going into the most. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. And now I will just click on the unfollow to see what is the difference. Okay. So our objective is now to figure out what is up with these spans. Can we use the span instead of the div? So we started with the first one. This is level 0, meaning this is the first button. This is the first follow friends button. So let's go back here, let's get the next one, and I think you all know where this is going and what we're doing. We have done this a couple of times already in this video. So we are looking for a pattern between our different selectors. I think I have already found it. I don't want to be too hasty and jump to conclusions already. So let's get another one. And another one. Alright, it would be great if we could listen to some music in the background. 2, 3, and 4. I think that. Oh, I see. I see that there is something else that is changing. So we see we are having this div appear magically out of nowhere. Now that causes me to investigate this a little bit further. So we have to see where else is this div going to appear. So we are on number 4 right now. So we have div number 5. So sometimes we can see that we have a walk around this. So perfect. So this is good that we were able to spot this. That sometimes it changes. Sometimes the selector, the path of the selector changes. Now I'm not sure if that was me that spied it wrongly, or if it's just the selector that is behaving differently. Now we have also another selector that is going to have 3 divs. So is there a pattern here that is two divs and then it's 3 divs? So what does this mean? This means that if we just put a variable here that is going to increment, that is not going to be enough. We have to also deal somehow with this discrepancy. Now the simplest way that comes to my mind is that we do something like this. So we already matched for the one on top with 2 divs. So here we want to do follow, and we want to have follow 2, and here we want to have just follow 1. So if we add these 2 selectors, I imagine that we should be able to continuously, repetitively add follows. Now let's copy these 2 guys and let's go back to our Power Automate. So we're working in div 5. Let's not anymore be working in div 5, and let's select, for example, let's select our span 2. So we can erase the div 5, we can erase, just out of curiosity, it always starts at, okay. Okay, so that was the first one. All right. So we can work with span, and then we can take this and replace the first one. All right. So this is for the span. We can do this. We can update, and we are updating the span. We'll put the span in here. The span, bad naming convention, right? Let's change it. Let's call it follow. And let's call this click on follow. Okay. And we have even lost the picture here, but doesn't matter. So follow, we need to add another variable that we're going to call follow2. We are going to also increment the other variable by 1 also. And then we're going to go to our follow, and we're going to add it another selector. We're going to add this selector that is right here. Now, once we add that, I believe that then we should be able to follow 2. This one has 3 divs, 1, 2, 3. And this one has 2 divs. So I believe that like this, we should be able to follow the different people on the follow page. Now let's delete all of these things, and then we could also think about a failsafe, meaning if our selector that we have just built, dynamic selector and everything fails, well, we could then rely on something else. But anyways, let's see if this is even working. If it is not working, I might just give up and trying the towel for today, and we will see this in the next stream. But if it's working, we'll just continue and continue working on it. So let's see. Will we be throwing in the towel? Oh my, oh my. I cannot throw in the towel just yet, right? It clicked to fail. It clicked to find the follow button on this page. Let's see why. Let's see why. Let's see why. Well, obviously we're not going to find much information in here. Let's see if this is waiting for the page to load. So it's waiting for the page to load. Okay. So let's go back to our variable, to our span. What are, oh wait, so we are clicking on the wrong, we're clicking on the wrong thing, my friends. So we should be clicking on this. So I believe that is why it was not working. No. So let's just give it one more try. And this one is the one with the 3 divs. So maybe the number, it should start with a different number. Well, anyways, let's get this one, and let's add it here. Now, if you set variable inside the skipped section, you set the variable inside of the skipped section. Oh, okay, cool, man, awesome. All right, nice, haha, beautiful. Thank you so much. I would have spent so much time trying to. Well spotted indeed, sir. So let's move these guys, or let's just move them up here. Well spotted, that is so cool. I wish we could kind of work and build this together and kind of build the best, most unbreakable automation of all time. Anyways, I think then let's just make sure that this is correct. So we are setting the variables follow, and then we are liking the increment, alright, and then we're skipping, and that should work, I guess. Well, let's see, and I might be getting a little bit tired if I missed something like that. But well spotted, and thank you so much. Why? Because if this doesn't break, we can continue and adding also the messages, and yeah, just building a little bit more on top of this. No. All right, fair enough. It has failed to. So we get the follow to variable, and then we go here and we we use the follow around the span, and that should, I guess that should do it. Let's go back to our over here. That's the follow, and did the span to have that? No, it didn't. Let's run it again, fingers crossed, and see what happens. For some reason, every time I say fingers crossed, something magical happens and the process works. So, fingers crossed, and let's have this process work. Oh, finally it is working. We are finally following friends. Alright, good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, what would happen if I were to increment this? Let's see, to where can we go? Can we go to 15 without breaking? Let's see the magic happen. Jean, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but thank you so much for pointing that out. That was a great suggestion. And again, fingers crossed, let's see if this is going to work. It is working again. Let's see if it will follow if it is going to scroll down with the page. It is scrolling down with the page, so I guess this part of the process is also working. So, should we try running our process from end to finish and see what happens? And then the last part of this would be to add a message box or a little bit of messaging, and that would just be good. All right. So let's move this. Let's move this all the way until the end, and let's also move our skip all the way until the end. So now we could run our process from beginning to end and see how is it behaving. Let's close a couple of these browsers because I'm running out of memory. That is pretty cool. All right. Fingers crossed that it's not going to break at any point and that it's just going to run from beginning to end. We haven't included any exception handling or any fail safes, which we should. We should include some fail safes in our process. All right, we are starting to like. We have liked the first part, and the process has broken already. All right. Should we figure out why? Let's see. We have failed to click on why, probably because there is a different variable. So we have this svg1, we have, let's see what is the difference. So we have two divs here, and the other one is with two divs also here. So I think that is the problem. Don't tell me I will have to do this again. Can I just Control Z? Okay. So one is with 2 and one is with 0. but I also believe that I have a div with three of these. Let's run our process again and see if the error repeats itself. Well, the error happens, so it's probably weird that it indicated the link clicking. I know, man. It's pretty. The exception handling and kind of the errors that we receive from Power Automate are very, very critical for me. Maybe just because I don't have enough experience yet with it, but yeah. Alright, so our process is breaking again for some reason. Let's debug it once again. So, alright, we have all of our different variables that are getting set. So let's see why this is not working. Link increment. Let's use our web recorder and let's find out why it worked on the first one and then work on the second one. So we should spy this one and see what is the difference. Now it is not opening for some reason. Here we go. Chrome. Let's start recording this. And let's click right inside of the heart. SVG2. Alright, let's check out SVG2 and see what's up with it. So, and if anybody knows why when you select the UI selector you get like this complex CSS selector, that would be pretty interesting to know. That's something that I have to find out. So we have the SVG here 2 and we have the SVG 1 here, that is our original one. So let's get the selector and let's understand what is so weird with this selector. Why is it starting at wherever it's starting? So we're gonna put it, these are the two selectors that we are using, and then we have this one. So it looks like that there is an additional div here. Okay, so does that mean that I could just take this like increment and add it to this, and that would mean that that is good, and we would call it like increment 3, because I guess it would give us the error as it did before, that we have the same key. Okay, like increment 3. So alright, let's see. So we have our SVG1, so let's see the first selector. The first selector is like increment, it has 2 divs here and it has a 2 in the end. The second one is like increment 2, it has 2 divs and it has a 0 in the end. Alright, let's add one more. This one is going to be like increment 3 with 3 divs and the 2 in the end. Alright, let's add it. And let's also add a variable that we are going to call like increment 3. So like increment 3, we're going to set it also to 0, and we're also going to increment it. Not sure about the incrementing part, but we have to increment the part, but maybe only increment it if in certain conditions. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's see if this is going to solve our problem. So by doing this over and over, I guess we are building a more robust flow that no matter how Twitter decides to render its tweets by changing the path slightly due to different things, we should always have a backup selector for it. Alright, so the first one has worked, but the second one has worked. Alright, now it seems like it's working. The third one has worked, so I guess it was about changing that little part in our code to make it a little bit more robust. So Now this one is working also, so let's see if it's going to break at any point in time. It has skipped one, it has skipped another one. What has happened here, I'm not really sure. So we made a mistake here, so let's stop this. This has already stopped, so we don't need to go to the homepage of Twitter. We don't need this notes, and we don't need this notes. Now we are going to click on the follow page, and then we're going to click on wait. So we don't need the follow page. We don't need the SVG tool. Let's see. What is the SVG tool? That is great. I believe we don't need it. Let's see on the click on the follow page. Let's see the selector. Okay. So let's reduce this and let's maybe just put like 3 likes, and then we're gonna go to our follow, and then we're gonna follow 3 people, and then we will be, and then we should go back to the home page. But all right, doesn't well, yeah, let's go back after that to the home page. So navigate, we can just add it here. No, how about go that, go to web page. All right, and the web instance, the URL, and we're going to take the URL of the home page here. So we're going to go back here. Let's see if we have any advanced strange options. Close it and save. Okay, well, if we have any errors right now happening in this, I might add more selectors, but I think the best way would be to create a subflow that would manage our exception. So let's see, we should get 3 likes, then we should click on the follow page, and then add 3 people to follow. Fingers crossed, that has been the motto of today's live. 1, 2, and 3, that's the third one. Now it should go to the follow page. No, it feels like adding more. Okay, all right, now follow 1, 2, and 3. That is great. We're following UiPath. UiPath is being followed by a robot. Excellent. We go back to our home page, and so far so good. Now one last part of our process, we're going to add some we're going to comment also on each one of these posts that we follow and that we like. At the same time, we are also going to be commenting on them with a pretty ridiculous message. What will be cool also, that we connect to Power Automate in the cloud. We use AI to extract the text, and then we use the same AI to get entities and categories and add additional hashtags to the text that we've extracted, or maybe even paraphrase the text automatically on another post. So let's start building towards that. So all right, so we want to comment. Let's just run this one more time just to see that it's not breaking. It is always good to try out your flow as many times as possible, to be able to verify and certify different conditions that might happen in certain occasions when you open your browser or your process. Every time it might be different, and as you can see, our process is not working anymore. Again, why? So it has failed to identify the button. Again, I guess I know the answer to it, because probably there is a 4th option of the selector. So or maybe I should not be starting from 0, but I should maybe starting from 1. let's see. Let's find why this kind of, so it depends on the post. It depends a lot on the post. So if the post is like this, the selector will be a certain kind. If the post is like this, now I am pretty sure that on this kind of post, if we run it, it is going to work. Let me verify my my hypothesis and see if it's correct. If it works right now, it is all about kind of finding the different selectors for different kinds of posts that LinkedIn, that Twitter can show you. Post with sub posts, post with, okay, so it works. This is kind of a normal post, the most typical kind of post. So I have a very quick way of getting by this error. So what I mean is, what if we just skip on error? If we skip on error, then we're just gonna go to the next click, to the next post, and we don't have to spy for that post, or we don't have to find that exception, or so let's do that, and that will basically make our post skip a couple of likes on some weird posts, but overall our flow is not going to break. So if I enable the exception handling and I continue the flow on run and I go to the next action, I assume that once we hit a post that is looking a little bit weird, such as, for example, where was that weird post? Once we hit that weird post, we will be able to, let's see if we can find it. This is a normal post, this is a normal post, these are all normal posts. Well, I think that happens in very rare situations, therefore we can just perfectly ignore it. So right now I am pretty sure that even if I put this at 10, it will still work no matter what. Even if it finds something that it doesn't know how to click on, it will just move on to the next one. Let's see if it's actually like that. So right now it should click on every single button except on the buttons or on the hearts that it doesn't know how to match. So it clicked on the first one. Will it click on the second one? So it has failed to identify one of them. We could go back and spy it and try to figure out why, so that we could get that one as well. For some reason I'm getting a lot of interesting news on my Twitter page. But anyways, so you see the ones that is skipping, that's the ones that we should go back, spy with the recorder, find the selector, and add it to our flow, so that it's even more stable. We could do that, or we could just add a couple of not save points, but maybe another way of clicking it, maybe using an image. But now let's do something else. Now let's click on this and let's add the comment. So what kind of robot would we be if we didn't comment on everything that we liked? So therefore, adding a comment is a necessity to for this robot to be successful in its robot life. So if we go back to our robot, and again we're gonna have the skip, so we are gonna set the label, we're gonna put it here all the way until the end, and we're gonna also skip all of these variables. Thank you again for reminding me of that. I would have quit already this stream if you wouldn't have pointed to that. So let's set another variable. We're gonna probably need it. And we're gonna name this variable, we're gonna name it comment.
Probably we're gonna have to do the same thing that we did for the likes. We're gonna have to spy a couple of those, and find the ones that we like the most. So we also don't need all of these spans anymore. We just need span number 2. And span number, oh well, we don't even need span number 2, and I don't think we need SVG 2 anymore. Oh, it's becoming very, very organized and clean, our recording screen. Alright, so what is the next thing that we need to do? We need to spy these little buttons. Alright, so again, we're gonna have probably different posts. So let's go for it and let's see what we're going to achieve. We are going to integrate with Chrome. We're going to start the recording and we are going to be clicking inside of this. Perfect. Now I really don't want to leave a comment. I just want another one of these. That's perfect. Now let's get another one of these. And I just want to say that the same concept, I believe, applies to any social media platform. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever platform we wanna spy and integrate, we would have the ability to do so by using this same kind of approach that I'm doing right now. And let's just get one more maybe of this one that looks a little bit fishy maybe. Exactly, you see when I said a little bit fishy, so we have SVG7, that means that that comment uses a slightly different selector. Alright, let's see what's up. I think that's good. Alright. Why did it... Okay, here are our actions. Let's get rid of the things that we don't need. And let's just go over our flow again. We're gonna set the variable to 0 comment, and then we're gonna skip. And we're gonna go to here. We're gonna erase this. And we're gonna click on the SVG2, and let's see if this is just gonna work out of the box. Might work out of the box, but even if it works out of the box, we should not rely on it. Why? Because probably next time that we open our page, that is not going to work. And it's waiting for it to load, and it has worked. Excellent. That doesn't mean that we should not repeat the same exercise that we did before. What do I mean the same exercise? Oh, this was pretty cool. I have never seen this. It is like an infinite loop. Anyways, something we're going to do an infinite loop on Twitter as well. So, alright. So, let's get our selectors. Let's get back into this. Did it just crash? Now, if it has just crashed, Power Automate, and I have lost 2 hours of work, that would really suck. Fortunately, it was able to recover. Alright. I am also very interested to know if how you are advancing with Power Microsoft Automate. What are some of the flows that you are working on? What are the things that you would like to learn and see? And also, what is it that you see, how do you see Microsoft Power Automate in the future? Do you see it as becoming mainstream, as being adopted by everybody? Obviously, right now, we are the first adopters or the early adopters of this technology. Soon this technology is going to be available on all of the computers. So do you think that everybody is going to start adopting this and creating their own automations? If that is the case, well, if that is the case, then everybody is going to be able to create their own social media bots and spam people and do things like that. So I guess then things will have to change a lot. Anyways, I was filling in some time while our Power Automate loaded. So, alright, we have Power Automate, we saved our flow. Now what we want to do is do the same exercise that we did with our other selectors. So let's get our SVGs, let's get the selectors so that it's never gonna break in the future. So let's get the first guy, let's put him in here. Let's get the second guy. And so on. And we'll do this for a couple of them. I already believe that we have identified a pattern in the first type of. So I guess the pattern, the only thing that changes is I think this number right here as well. No, this number right here. So I guess that will have to be replaced by our variable, while everything else is staying the same. All right, so having said that, we can put our variable in here and hope for the best. So if we put our variable and we type in something like comment, I think that was the name of our variable. That should do it for the comments. So we go here to our SVG tool. And we add our comment. Update and close. And do we have comment? Yes, we have comment. So theoretically now it should work. It should click on the first one. Let's see what happens. If it didn't work, obviously we're not getting the right selector, so we have to respy the selector, find the difference in the selector, edit that selector and add it to the one that we already have. Fingers crossed that we don't have to go through all of that, but probably we have to. Alright, so that didn't work. It could have not worked for a couple of reasons. One is that Power Automate is stuck. Alright, so if Power Automate is stuck and if it's not going to allow us to continue, well, yeah, it is going to allow us to continue. So let's just try this one more time. So again, for anybody tuning in, this is a flow on. Why don't we just look at the whole thing from beginning to end and just test it one more time and see if it's working or not. The last thing that we should be clicking on is going back to our home page. Oh, I deleted the button of the home page. So navigate to home page. The last thing that we should do is navigate to the home page and then click on the comment button. So if we go to, I had it right there. So if we add the go to web page right here before this, and we add the Twitter URL, which I don't have, but I can get it from here. We navigate to this and then we click on the comment. The first part of the process should be completely working fine. We're testing it for the 10th time. So here it is. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed that the like and the follow is not going to break. We already created some strong selectors, but I could be wrong. Alright, no, it is working on the first one, it is working on the second one, it is working on the third one, fourth one is fine, fifth one is fine, sixth one is fine, that's good, 7, and it's each one in a row, it's not even skipping one, 8, that's really good. Okay, skip this one, and skip this one as well. So what we should do theoretically is use our selectors and go and find what's going on, why is it skipping those ones, and add them to our basically just add them to our flow so that we have an even more robust automation. Now we go back home and now we click on the comment. Now if it clicks on the comment, that will be really good, excellent, perfect, beautiful. Now we can start commenting. Okay, so our process has worked until here. So that is pretty nice. So what we are doing is we have created an infinite loop that is gonna go on forever in just going between the go to and label. We could watch this for hours because it is pretty interesting, but I will stop it. And I will change the go to. I will put the go to up here where it used to be previously, so that after we set our variable, thanks Jan again, after we set our variable, we will skip all the way down to here and click on our comment. Now after we comment, we would like to send some text. So let's go back to Twitter and see. Alright, so once we hit on this comment, now one thing to notice is that I already have the blinking, the input text blinking. What does that mean? That means that if I start typing, I will already be able to type. But what does that mean also in robot language? In robot language, that means that if I start sending keywords or start sending keys on my keyboard, I don't need to spy anything else. I can just send keyboard text. So let's try that and see what happens. So send email, send keys to terminal session, send keys. Maybe it could be this. So let's send some keys. This is an awesome post. I am the PZ robot trolling on Twitter. We have to make people aware about our robot. PS robot trolling on Twitter. Alright, delay between keys, send text as keyword yes, hardware keys. Do we have any other option? We don't need any special keys. Now, for some reason, the text has magically disappeared. I thought I wrote something. This is a post PZ bot. Just scrolling around. And we're gonna save this. Now, I don't think this will work exactly as it is. So why don't we also just hit send and enter with this, and that should insert our message. So if we insert enter, I believe at the end of this, if we put the return, it will not go on to the following line, but it will just insert it. Let's see what happens. We might also want to put maybe a little bit of time, or waiting time in between these things, but right now we don't need to. Alright, so let's run this and see what happens again. So it should open the process, it should click on the comment, it should insert the text that we wrote, and by hitting the enter, it should submit the text. Alright, now please submit the text. and you hit enter. All right, so the enter, it actually brought it into the new line. It didn't have it click reply. So what we have to do is, I guess we have to click on this reply ourselves. So the best way to do that is we're gonna turn on the web recorder again, and we're gonna reply. We're gonna search for this reply button, and again we're gonna use the approach that we have been using so far. We're gonna search in the slowest element. So we're not going to highlight the button or the div around it. We're going to drill down and try to get the lowest of all of the elements. Now for some reason it's not highlighting the different. Here we go, it just started highlighting. Okay, so we're going to click on the reply. Excellent. So now again we are going to click on firearms background checks surge in 2020. So let's just write something, a good idea, and let's click on the reply again, so that we have two replies. Maybe we have one here and we have one here. Why do we need two replies? I think you know the answer to this. We need two replies because we want to be sure that of the difference between the two. So we have span and span. So it didn't generate additional ones. So it was the same. It was the same. So here we send the text and then we clicked on the reply. So we can eliminate this, eliminate the comment, eliminate this, 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 and this. Now this should probably work, so let's try it and see if it's working. Obviously if it's working, you guys can assume what would be next. What would be next would be to just automatically put this in a loop and have it comment on as many posts as we are liking. Beautiful, right? We have almost created our automation on Twitter. Now let's wait for a little bit for the text to appear. The text is not appearing, so it has broken for some reason somewhere. Let's see where did it break. That's pretty odd. Okay, so I think we should give it a little bit of weight between the two actions. So I think that is why it is breaking. So let's give it a little bit of weight, or can we have a weight here? No, we are just sending keys mindlessly. So let's add a few seconds of weight. Let's add 2 seconds of weight. And that should be enough for this to appear, so that for the pop-up to appear, so that we can send our keys. We should add maybe a dynamic weight. How could we add a dynamic weight? Wait for Windows, wait for image, wait for window content, wait for web page content. Yeah, I guess we would wait for web page content. We could. Let's try this, see if this is working. If it's working, we should still replace it with a dynamic weight. So it's never a good reason to use a static weight, meaning, alright, let's wait for 2 seconds and then we will. Why? Because on one side it's just a waste of time, and on the other side it is, so we wait 2 seconds and we get the text and then we hit reply. Alright, okay. So what we should actually be waiting for is, we should be waiting for the reply button. So if the reply is visible, then let's put our text in. Alright, so let's do this little quick modification. So let's wait for a web page content. It's going to be from the browser, and the UI element is going to be the span that we are clicking on here. So this span right here.
that means that we can eliminate our 2-second wait. We can also maybe just rename this and call it reply. Yeah, okay, spelling. Let's just first run it and see if this dynamic wait is working. If the dynamic wait is working, that is great, because like that we are not going to wait for 2 seconds every time. What if it's 4 seconds, or what if it's 1 second? Like this is going to be a dynamic wait. It's much better for the automation. So let's see if it's going to break or not. I guess it has. I guess in this case we need to wait for something else, because maybe the reply is already available, but it's in a pop-up, so it's just gonna skip through it. It's just gonna skip through it. So maybe instead of using so it's not finding this. Interesting. Could it be because we have too many of these open? Let's give it one more try. And let's review what this does. UI element. Alright, on error, show an error, fine. Let's run it and let's see what happens. So before it got stuck in the dynamic element part. Now I will be observing it on the other screen, and I will see if it's going to get stuck there again. So it's on the click on the web page, it clicked on it, now it's waiting for the reply. Now, I got it. Okay, so what happened? So this is waiting for the reply to light up, meaning, let me show you what I mean. So when we hit, what we are doing right now, we are spying this reply here that is not lit up. Now when we type in some text, this gets lit up. So I guess that means that we should try to wait for something else. So let's discard this, and I believe that I have spied something else that we could probably use. So we could wait for this div. So let's call this message box, and let's wait for this instead. And let's see if, well, we cannot use spaces, so let's use this kind of name convention, message box. Alright, so let's instead wait for the message box and see if that is going to work. Let's run this again and see what happens. Fingers crossed, like we always say, like we have been saying for the entirety of this stream. When we cross our fingers, usually it works successfully. Alright, so I guess it worked. So I guess what is going to be the next part? The next part is going to be, that's an interesting mention. The next part is going to be to put this in a loop and leave a bunch of random comments, trolling comments around. So let's do that on the fly in the following few minutes, and then run our process in an infinite loop and watch it run. So we need, for the third time in this stream, we need an if statement. We need to put it right here. So we don't need an if statement. Well, I'm getting a little bit tired. We need a loop. So let's look for a loop. We need the basic loop. So let's add the basic loop right here. We're going to start this loop at
0, and we're gonna end it at 5 right now. We're gonna increment it by 1, and then we are going to add all of these things inside of our loop. We have to remember to increment our variable. And that's going to be pretty much it. So we're going to click on this 5 times, so we need to increment the variable comment. So we need to increment the variable comment. Hopefully we will not need additional variables for the SVG. So we need to increment the variable comment. So let's add this, and our flow is getting a little bit big also. So let's increment our variable here. So we're gonna increment our variable comment, I guess. That's the one that we are going to be working on. And we're gonna increase it by 1. We're gonna go back to the loop. We're gonna click on the next one, and we're gonna repeat things. Wishful thinking, probably. Let's move all of our move our label back here. No, let's leave our label right here. So we're gonna skip to here, and then we're gonna do our process. So here we are setting our variable. Everything should be good to go. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a try for this beautiful, amazing Twitter troll. And again, in 2 hours, not even, well, obviously if this is going to be successful, we have created a silly billy Twitter troll that can act on our behalf and impersonate a human person. Now this raises a whole lot of questions. Questions like, does it make sense to have something went wrong? Let's give it another shot. So, alright, so I think I know what is going on. So we have comment 2. Alright, let's try running this again and try to figure out what is happening with our flow. Let's run this from the beginning and see what happens. Alright, so it is opening on another page. It is commenting on another page, commenting kind of quite successfully also, I have to say. But on the second comment, it is giving me some errors. So what I think is happening is preventing us from commenting constantly. Could it be? Can we comment on more than one thing, like very quickly? Let's try. So let's comment on this. Let's comment on this. So we can comment, but there is something that is happening with the selectors and with the timeout. Now this would require another couple of half an hour or a few more minutes to fix. So I will not be dealing with this right now. I might make a dedicated video where I just cut through the fat and I just show you how to do it. So what I will do right now is I will delete this loop. I will delete all of these actions. And we will also remove this. So we don't need this, and we don't need this. And then let's see when is this going to break. Let's make it 100. And let's make this also 100. So right now this is going to be the last thing that we're going to be doing in our flow, and in today's stream we are going to be putting on some stress for the automation that we have built. The automation should be quite strong and quite stable, meaning for what we have built so far, it should be working without too much problem, meaning it should be liking until the end of days, and then it should be following until the end of days. So that's pretty much it for today's live stream. I hope that you have enjoyed this, that it was educational and fun at the same time. And also thank you for everybody that tuned in, that asked their question, and also that supported with by noticing things that I haven't noticed, and that helped me save a lot of time on this. So thank you so much for watching, and I will leave you with this flow. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next live stream and in the next video. One more time, congratulations to yourself for watching this and for wanting to learn Power Automate. You are making one step closer to becoming more productive, more efficient, and also becoming a better human being. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.